Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to paint this beach scene. It's a rocky beach scene, and I've already penciled in the sketch very lightly, just going in now with some yellow ochre. The mix is about 25% yellow ochre paint and 75% water. Same mix now for the top wash, which is cobalt blue, and into the cobalt blue I'm dropping bits of grey that are left from the palette. I'm just encouraging those two mixes to come together and carrying that cobalt blue wash further down just to indicate the front area of the beach, and as you go into the back and coming through the front, just indicating some small waves as well, some areas of different contrasts. I'm now doing these rocks, and I'm using a flat brush here, and I'm using a greyish wash. It's probably a bluish grey, a cool grey wash, about 25% paint and 75% water. And I'm trying to get a few different mixtures of grey in here, so altering it as I go down, just to add some interest to these rocks. And notice that I've left a little bit of the white of the paper on the top of these rocks here, just to show the sun, that light coming in from the left hand side. So just painting that rock at the front now and trying to join them up a little bit. And you can notice it's starting to bloom on some of those rocks, but it's not a big deal. It actually adds to that feeling of texture on these rocks. And ideally, when you paint in watercolors, you want to keep the washes pretty clean, like this. Now I'm coming in and adding some yellow ochre to the sand area, and just carrying that wash all the way down. And also notice I'm leaving a little bit of the white near those waves, just to indicate a bit of the froth and waves coming in. And the paint's still slightly damp as well, so I'll just added in a couple of strokes to the front rock, and I'm also doing these people as well. Bit of red, bit of light red for their heads, and just letting that blend in. Okay, so I've let that dry off a little bit, and I'm mixing up some blue, bluish green actually, not sure what it is. And now I'm just indicating that area of rock / mountain in the far distance behind the two figures. And what I'm doing here is I'm softening the edges of some areas so that it doesn't appear too harsh and stand out against the sky. I've done that to the front of the rock as well, and that just gives the impression of pushing that further back into the distance, because I don't want that to be the focus of the painting. Now just trying to get in some of these trees here, so I've got a bluish green mix. using a combination of a flat brush and a round brush. And I hadn't gone in as cleanly as I would have wanted to, but we'll see how it turns out. It's always good to finish something off and see how it turns out in the end. And I'm adding in some of the darker areas of the rock now. These rocks at the back, and then moving towards the front using this flat brush. And the flat brush is really good for cutting around as well. You can see it leaves a nice crisp line on those rocks. And for this one in the foreground, what you have to remember is to make this one a lot darker than the others. So I'm trying to get more pigment on, but I'm actually going to go back into it later on and glaze it again. But I've got a few different colors in there. I've got green, I've got blue, I've got bits of grey, bits of brown. And I've added in just a little bit of water near those trees at the back there to try to encourage it to bloom a little bit. And I was experimenting just to see what would happen. And now I'm adding in some more trees in the back, just using a number 6 round brush. Very simple upward strokes. I haven't taken too much time there. And just a bit of darkness underneath those trees. Now I'm going to do the shadows of these rocks now, because I've figured the light source is coming from the top left of the painting. This has to be done while the paper's completely dry if you want to make sharp looking shadows like this. It's important to get this shadow done all in one go, so I'm using a flat brush here, loaded up with as much paint as possible, and just getting those major shapes in, following that light source from the left. And make sure with the shadows in the back, just go a bit lighter. Now I'm just going in, adding a bit of darkness underneath the rocks there. Let it blend into the shadow so that it doesn't appear as separate to the rock. And the more important thing is to make sure those shadows are running in the same direction. Just adding a bit of green now on top of these rocks to imply some moss or some lichen just growing on the top. And what I'm doing here is I'm going in with the knife and I'm just trying to scratch out some little highlights on top. That's all dried now. And the final wash, I'm just going to get these values to what I want, especially with this front rock. It needs to be darker than the other two, so I've gone in with that flat brush again and darkening with a combination of blue and red, a bit of brown. I picked up a little bit of gouache as well. This is some white gouache, and it looks like there's actually some yellow in there as well that I've mixed into it accidentally. But I've gone in here and I'm just doing some highlights around these rocks. And the trick is to get the brush pretty dry when you're adding in those highlights. I'm adding in a wash now for the sea. I just don't think it's dark enough. Just a light wash of blue, and added in some softer waves as well. And what I'm trying to do just to help with the perspective is I'm going to add some rocks and debris down the front. And I'm using it's like a fan brush as well now to do just some indications of shrubs and grass and bits of moss growing. And that's all in a little bit of gouache, opaque gouache. And in the background here, what I'm doing is just trying to soften it a little bit more to blur out those hills a little bit. And that's going to help with the perspective as well. Last step I'm doing is adding on some little shadows and highlights to these rocks. So again, the light source is coming in from the top left, so you want to make sure that the left side of these rocks have a lighter section to them. I'm now adding in a little bit of debris, so I've got some little branches that I've put here as well. Ideally, if you can get these highlights done by leaving them that color in a previous wash, that's ideal. But if you're not able to, or you miss that chance, you can always come back in like I've done here. And the finishing touch, just a few birds in the background. That's the end of the video. I hope you got some value out of it. Thanks for watching.